Hi, this is Beata from Splitcoaststampers. In this video I want to show you how to create a T-slide card. It is a card where you pull on the tab, your image will slide upward, revealing a sentiment in the inside. The photo tutorial shows different sizes. I'm showing you a 4.5 inch square. The images used in the samples are from my favorite things, Pure Innocent stamps. First you will need a paper cutter as well as a 4-inch square pattern paper. If you use pattern paper, make sure it's thick. I had to reinforce my October afternoon paper with regular cardstock so it won't be too flimsy when you create your slider. Now I'll have to cut a frame, and because it's a 4-inch card and relatively small, I'll cut a 1/2 inch size frame on 3 sides, leaving one side to be scored. So let's start. You line up your paper with 3.5 and cut from 1/2 inch to 3.5, and you repeat that on 2 more sides. Line up with 3.5, cut from 1/2 to 3.5, and one more. Because I'm cutting so much and I will need the paper cutter again, I'm going to just use my score tool from the score pile instead of getting the score pile out and having to move it. And now on the last side, you score between the 2 cut marks. And you just find your groove and score from 3.5 to 1/2 inch. We'll also need a score line 1/2 inch after the outside the cut. So we line it up at 1. And score again from 3.5 to 1/2 inch. This will be your glue tab. The T-slider will go on and pull it open and closed. And then you will have to score in between those 2 score lines. For this measurement, it is at 2 1/4. Before I pre-fold this all, it's easier if I add a cutting groove right away for the sentiment, and it's easier if I turn it around because then more of the cardstock is laying on the bottom edge. So then I line it up with 2 7/8. That's going to be 1/4 after my first score, and cut from 1 5/8, which is just you line up at 1/4 and then add the small edge, to 2 11/16, which is just 1/16 inch before the 2 3/4. Then you move it back 1/8 inch and do it again. 1 5/16 to 2 11/16. Then you will need a mat and a craft knife, and cut in between those 2 cuts you just made so you can have a little score groove. And now since we have all the cutting done, we can pre-fold our score lines. Our glue tab goes up, the center score goes down, and the last one will go up again. There. Next you will need a piece of 3 by 1 1/4 inch piece of cardstock and add a sentiment on top. You can corner round the edge, or I used a circle punch, just slit the end in and rounded the edge. Score 1/2 inch on your straight side and add adhesive. Peel off, slide through your groove that you just made, turn it around and tape it to the end of your last score. Then you will need 2 pieces of 1 by 3.5 inches, and you will create your T-slider. Keep this upside down, your card front, and add adhesive to that glue tab we scored. I always use a score tape because it rips and my stuff never comes apart. Okay, then you take this off, add your first piece of 3.5 by 1 inch and tape it to the edge of that groove. And then you take your second one and you can leave it like this, or you can I added half circles so it will be easier to pull out and in. Add adhesive and center it over your diagonal, your horizontal strip. Then you add adhesive. I already did a little bit, and because I only have 1/2 inch of my frame measures only 1/2 inch, I need 1/8 inch tape to make sure my frame doesn't, my slider won't be hindered by my tape. Just take the tape off, and then you adhere it to a 4¼ inch piece of cardstock. You could just leave it black, but I wanted some pattern paper to show, so I just taped a smaller piece in the center. And then you just tape this down. And now it should slide up and down. And the first couple times it's a little bit hard till it gets there. And all you have left to do, it's easiest if you slide it up a little bit. See that? Just add your image, only tape it on that strip. Don't tape it over the score lines, otherwise your slider won't work. I added dimensionals to the back of this, and then you can add embellishments as you want. A little bit hard, sometimes your half circles get stuck a little bit. I'd probably add some ribbon here, just like in this card, and your T-slider is done. I hope you have fun with this. Try the different sizes, play around a little bit. See you next time.